What's going on, guys? Don Ross with Patriot Business Systems, and today we're going to go through a tip or trick, and essentially these are some of the ones that I actually find pretty fun and enjoyable to show some simple automations that can make your life a whole lot better. And with this platform, GoHighLevel, they've got the ability to obviously have a phone system built directly in it, whether you're using Twilio or Lead Connector, their version of it. There's the ability to have a dialer, single line dialer, but add people to a dialer and make phone calls. Figured I'd go through and show a real quick automation on how to add people to a dialer by adding some tags to a contact, and then kind of talk through the process of, the usefulness behind this and what that might look like in a sales process. So first and foremost, it's going to be based off of contact. So you can see here on the left menu, I'm in a contact card, and you can either apply a tag by clicking the checkbox and applying a tag here, or you can click into the contact card and look something like this, and down on the bottom you could apply the tag there. That's just a couple different ways that could be done. Conversations tab is another one that it could be done on. Once that is done under manual actions, this is where it'll show up and you could come in and place a contact or a list of people onto that dialer. So the way I look at it is, if you've got kind of a qualification of getting leads to figure out if they're actually qualified leads or just prospects, oftentimes if you're not able to live answer every single call, you're going to have some of them that you're going to have to reach back out to between texting, cold calling, following up, and trying to touch base with them and figure out if they are actually a qualified lead. That then may include putting them into a dialer and dialing through and trying to call them once, twice, 3 times a day for a week. That just depends on what your business process looks like, but I can tell you a lot of people will call them multiple times a day. People obviously have different work schedules, things of that nature. Between the calls, the texts, the emails, trying to get a hold and figure out if they are a good qualified lead or not, or if you can move on to the next. Now, with that said, I'll talk a little bit on what that might look like sales process-wise with what we're used to, with doing some of the real estate side of things between agents, investors, mortgage brokers, etc., working and touching base with people and some of that sales process. Automations. So very simple automation. This is what it's going to look like. We'll talk through it here in a second. But if you're trying to set them up, if you have your own agency account, you'll have access to the automation side here. If you're a sub account, you may or may not have access to the automations. So this might be something that you have to reach out to your support team to have them set up, hire them to do it, or if you own your own account, you can do it on your own here. If you have not already signed up for a GoHighLevel account, we'll have a link in the YouTube description where you can sign up for a 14-day free trial and walk through that stuff. We're going to be doing videos on some of these different tips and tricks with GoHighLevel and other CRMs that we offer and recommend and provide on our side. So if you want to do it on your own, we're going to show you how to do it on your own, build the automations, things of that nature. But if you would prefer to simply hire somebody or ask them to do something and build out the automations, build out the integrations, that's something that we offer. Patriot Business Systems with an S.com. Reach out to us there. There's some spots where you can schedule a discovery call with us, talk through some of the questions that you might have, or use the chat feature on the website to chat with us. So without further ado, let's talk through just a very simple automation. So it's going to be based off of a trigger. This trigger is when a contact is added. What are you going to do? Workflow trigger name, powerdialer. We're going to add a tag, powerdialer, and then we're going to add it to a manual call. Manual call is what their powerdialer is, so single line dialer. Some of you might be familiar with other platforms out there, such as Mojo, Call Tools, ZenCall, and some others that are available that are triple line dialers and up to 10 line dialers, etc. That is not what this is. This is just a single line dialer where you could have one person, 10 people, 100 people, and it'll go through one by one, and after you hang up with the contact that you're trying to reach, it'll move on to the next. So it's speeding up that point of contact with people that you're trying to follow up with, things of that nature. really not meant as a prospecting dialer if you have people you've never talked to. You could certainly use it for that if you have some smaller lists, but if your list are thousands of people, probably not a good fit. If it's a couple hundred people or less, might be a good fit to do it. So with that said, this is what that looks like. Some other things to take into account, which we've set up in the past for others, is you can make it to where this stuff allows certain times. So under settings, you can allow certain times, certain days. Think about what you are or are not allowed to do with dialing out and talking to people, and whether that makes sense with adding them into your list or not. If you wanted to make it to where when you make the dial and reach out to them, and let's say you have a status like we do in our contact records. You either had somebody that we made contact with, we left a voicemail, no contact, things of that nature, or no message left. Those buttons or updates that you're clicking could then send out an email, send out a text message. So you could really hone in your sales process and make your calls happen a whole lot faster. But then if you're not able to reach them, do things like, hey, add it to the dialer for tomorrow because we didn't get a hold of them, or add it to my list that we're going to call in the afternoon. If they didn't answer, go ahead and send out a text message to them right now. If we were unable to get a hold of them, send out an email. For those of you that have the integrations with direct mail like we do, you could send out a direct mail piece after so many calls. All that stuff can be done. This is kind of the if this happens, then do this type of mentality with these actions, and you can actually make a whole lot more steps. And we have, but this functionality at least gets you to where you're adding people with that tag to your manual dialer. So if we go back and we can do it, like I said, from here, you can see that we've already got the tag. I could select this and add it here. That's the one way to do it. I could add the tag here. Now you see I have to give an action name or reason on this screen. Add the tag to powerdialer. They've been done. If we ever wanted to, we could go up to bulk actions and see if that's been completed or not. If we come to manual actions under conversations, we see that this one has been added. To call, we have yet to do that. We can come in here and start to dial out to them. And we could start dialing out using the power dialer. Once this is complete, we'll be able to see the call log has happened. Let's see, allow. And so this will attempt to make the call happen. It's reaching out. You see once it's been done, we can complete it. No answer, voicemail, whatever happened. Based off of the selection that we do here, we can make actions happen off of that disposition as well. So really simple way to add them to a dialer. Now let's think about this through a sales process. If somebody comes in and they're either responding to your direct mail that you sent out to them, maybe you've got pay-per-click, Facebook ads, they've come into your system. You weren't able to talk to them right away. You're following up with them. You're trying to qualify them. Okay. After you've qualified them, your sales process might include setting appointments, whether that's over the phone or in person. You set an appointment, and typically you would then have that appointment. If you're able to get a hold of them, make the appointment happen, great. Move on to the next sales process, which is probably making an offer and then trying to close that deal. If you're not able to do that, they don't answer, they're unable to be reached, or you go out there and they're not available for the appointment, they essentially no-showed, you could then put them into a list of appointment no-shows. That gets added into your dialer. They have follow-ups that go out with text messages, maybe direct mail, ringless voicemails. All that stuff can be done through the automations in here. If you make an offer and they don't accept it right away, they say they've got to talk to somebody, you didn't have all the decision makers right away with you, and you're going to follow up with them. Obviously not the ideal situation. When you're making offers, you want to have all the decision makers there and available, but sometimes it happens. You put them into follow-up, you're reaching out to them, they're on your offer follow-up list. Again, that type of offer follow-up list could be a manual action that goes into your dialer, and you're dialing them once a day, twice a day, once a week, whatever that looks like for your company and your sales process. But those triggers and those tags should be applied to add them to the dialer. So you're using those tags of when this tag happens, add them to the dialer. And you want to be able to see that on the contact record, so you're able to then do dashboards and reports of, hey, we have X amount of people that we've made offers to. We've followed up with them X amount of times, and we can see that on dashboards, but we can also make the sales process a whole lot quicker, simpler, and our people know that if we log in, make our calls for the day, we've talked to the people that we had appointments with, we've talked to people that we made offers with, those that we're closing deals with, we've updated it and told them where we're at with the process and when that closing or that transaction is going to close out and happen. And then if we've got just general follow-ups that we're doing, that stuff is loaded into that dialer. We're making those calls, getting those text messages, and or maybe direct mail pieces, ringless voicemails going back out, and the dialing that we talked about. So that's how to do some of this stuff. Really simple, really easy with these transactions and these action buttons. So over here is where you would add to the tree, and obviously make it as complicated as you want. I always recommend trying to keep it as simple as possible. Map it out, whiteboard it out, talk through with your salespeople kind of what that ideal journey should look like with your customer, and kind of walking them from start to finish. What does that look like? How much follow-up do we need to do? And make sure that we're touching base with the people that we said we would, when we said we would do it. And that alone will make you 98% better than most people that are out there that are trying to do sales. Most are going to reach out, try to make that sale happen right away, and when it doesn't happen, it falls to the wayside. They forget about the people. So if you have questions, feel free to throw a comment up on the video. If you have other topics around this that you'd like us to cover, you can certainly reach out to us. We do recommend either reaching out on the chat of patriotbusinesssystems.com. You can text us 262-300-2882. Text us questions that you might have on the softwares, and then we'll do content around it and reply back to you once we release those videos. If you would like to talk to us, see what we can maybe do for you, go ahead over to patriotbusinesssystems.com, and then there's an appointment scheduling calendar. We can touch base on a phone call and kind of figure out if it makes sense to work together, or if you want to build it out on your own, ask questions, and we'll help along the way as well. All right, guys, take care.